Welcome back to Hutt City Custom Cycles vlog. It's been a while since I've posted anything. I've been very busy with kids cricket, my child's sport, and Hutt City Custom Cycles has been pretty steady. Nothing really major on the go, but we are very pleased to say that the Lone Glide, the bike that I travelled the US on, is back. We've had that back for about a week, so looking forward to getting stuck into that. That is booked in at the Harley Davidson dealer to get some new front brake rotors under warranty. Enough of this chit chat, let's get on with the vlog. Well, welcome back. Let's get straight into it and let's talk about the new Harley Davidson motorcycles that have been out. Obviously the FX DRS is the latest. I took the time to went round to my local dealer to have a look at that. Unfortunately, they wouldn't let me do a ride review on it for you, which would have been nice. But it looked like an interesting looking bike. I don't know if you liked it or not. It's not a great appealer for me with a big rear tyre, but it was nice to see that Harley Davidson are coming up with some great new stuff going forward. I'm very excited to see the path that they're on. You know, 5 years ago, would I have wanted to be a Harley Davidson dealer? Hell no. You know, 2 years ago, would I have wanted to be a Harley Davidson dealer? Absolutely not. I didn't think they were heading in the right direction. Their touring bikes were good, but the new Softail range, I didn't really think much of it. My thoughts have changed on that, gladly, and I'm probably hopefully that your thoughts have too. I like the way that they're appealing to the youth with the bikes. I think the price points are way too high, so they need to introduce some sort of easy finance for the youth to get into riding. But as we'll talk a little bit later, they do have a pretty broad spectrum of things coming up, which looks very exciting. Also, what's been big talk is the Indian FTR 1200. Now, I have taken the time to look at this bike and really impressed. 120 horsepower off the boot, looks fantastic. Twin monoblock calipers, monoshock rear. It'll be a very quick handling bike with its rake and trail specs. 120 horsepower, as I've said before, they're not mucking around. ABS brakes, fully adjustable suspension front and rear, touchscreen dash, wheelie control, chain drive rear. This bike is fantastic, and I believe that this bike will set a new benchmark. I believe that this bike has put the handbrake on the Harley Davidson Sportster sales, and we'll talk about those numbers in a minute and other reasons why I think the Sportster sales are down by 30%. So that looks like a very interesting bike. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to take it for a ride. I do have support from the local Indian dealer, so I very much look forward to taking that for a blast, doing a video review on that when that comes out. Clinton, the guys at Wellington Motorcycles have always been very supportive, so we're looking forward to bringing that bike to you and giving you a bit of a run on that. So going back to the FX DRS, it looks good. I'm not a fan of the forward controls on it. I think a bike that is orientated around sport handling, i.e. RS, shouldn't have a 180 240 tyre. It's going to definitely appeal to the guys that like the V-rods, because obviously the V-rod is no more. It's going to appeal to the guys that like their breakouts. But for a bike that's supposed to handle reasonably well and certainly has the most ground clearance of all the Harley Davidson models, I feel that a 200 tyre would have been a great compromise and still given that fat tyre look, but would definitely make a big difference to the handling. Though I have not ridden one of these, so yeah, I mean that remains to be seen. Would have liked to see mid controls on that bike, not forwards. It very much puts you in a C riding position, which is quite uncomfortable for long hauls. And the price tag was pretty expensive. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was you know, 38 grand Kiwi. That's a lot of coin for a 25 to 30 year old to pop up with. So some good finance options are going to be required from Harley Davidson Australasia, I believe, to get sales in New Zealand and Australasia. But we'll see what happens. See what happens from there. 114 cubic inch engine in it, has lots of torque. It's not a screamer, the 114 cubic inch. It puts out no more horsepower than a 107 with maybe a stage 1 kit. I know my 107 has a stage 2 kit in it, and that flies past a 114. So I'm looking forward to putting in our Fuel Moto 120 kit into my 107. We're just waiting for the SNS cam plate and oil pump to arrive, and once that arrives we'll start cracking into that. Doesn't look like I'm going to be doing much riding this summer on the road glide due to my son's sport, which is pretty important to me, but I'm very fortunate to have quite a few other bikes to choose from if I want to go for a ride, and I would prefer to ride something a bit old and classic style over a new bike anyway, certainly around town. The touring bike is excellent for long trips, but I don't think I'll be doing many of those over Christmas. So going back to the 114 cubic inch engine, it's a great engine, goes really good, but it could always be a little bit peakier, I believe, up the top end. It is actually the fastest Harley in the model lineup. It's actually faster than the 114 in the Fat Bob, and the reason why that is because the FX DRS weighs less. So if you've got an FX DRS, you have the fastest Harley that they have. So that's always nice to know if you want to sort of drag off your mates. The ergonomics just aren't quite right. As I said before, it puts you in that C position, but however, the bike looks great. I'm excited about what Harley Davidson have got coming out in the near future, which we'll talk about very, very shortly. I'm excited about what Indian are bringing out in the near future. This FTR 1200 is going to be a fantastic bike, and you should definitely get into motorcycles and check it out. The FX DRS is in Motormart Harley Davidson in the Hutt Valley at the moment. It's in their showroom if you want to go and check that out too. I know that the guys in there will certainly be loved to see you right out the door with it. So that's going on about a lot of the talk in New Zealand at the moment is fuel prices. Everyone's sick of paying $2.30 or whatever the hell it is for a litre of fuel. I'm very fortunate that I live so close to work. I actually don't need to fill up that often. However, it's definitely been a talking point in the New Zealand media of late. Now that introduces new questions to itself. Is that going to create people to ride motorbikes? Is that going to create the 40-year-olds, the 35-year-olds to turn around and say, hey, listen to the wife, we can save money on fuel, I can buy a bike, it's going to be cheaper to run in and out of town, I can park it for free, I can park it underneath in the workshop car parking, I can park it in the office block car parking. So are we going to see an increase in motorcycle sales in New Zealand due to the fuel prices? I certainly hope so. I think it's definitely a real question for people to ask themselves now. I know people that, we only had a customer in here yesterday that's selling their petrol Hi-Ace just because it's too expensive to run. So people are definitely thinking about motorcycles. Whether they're going to think Harley Davidsons or Indians or not, I don't know. They are an expensive product, but obviously you do get what you pay for. They may end up going for Japanese style cruisers or just commuters to keep that cost down, but I can see a lot of 29 to 45-year-old men saying to their wives, hey, listen, let's get a motorcycle. This is the excuse I need to get a Harley Davidson, or an Indian for that matter. So let's see what happens there. Harley Davidson have got their live wire electric bike I believe being released next year or certainly the year after that. Is that the way people are going to go with electric motorcycles? We'll talk about the sales of electric motorcycles in a minute, but I know that electric motorcycle sales are going up through the roof, so that could be a telltale sign of what we're going to see. As some of you may be aware, I also own an automotive workshop. We're dealing with motor vehicles. I don't believe that electric is the way that the future is. I believe that hybrid technology is the way that the future is. I believe that it's going to be a mixture of electric and petrol. Petrol technology now is extremely good. Two examples of that is, back in the day, I remember the Holden Senator, 185 kilowatts, 5 litre V8. So it took a 5 litre V8 to put out 185 kilowatts. Well, now they're doing that with a Toyota Corolla. 4-cylinder. The engines are so much more efficient now that the power output is there, and the reason why the power output is there is because they're using 100% of that fuel. Another good classic example of how good petrol engines are now is, I was just getting a cup of coffee this morning at the local Ford Mazda dealership just around the corner, Stevens Motors. Now next to Stevens Motors there's a coffee cart, and they had all the cars warming up. The car groomer had fired up all the cars to let them warm up in the car yard, so when the punters were coming to see the cars, they're all running and nice and warm. Now I stood inside a circle of 6 to 8, 10 cars, all running, idling, and I took the time to smell and breathe, and I could not smell any carbon monoxide fumes. I could breathe there quite happily. The air still smelled fresh, and I was standing inside a circle of 6 cars all idling. So that's how good petrol technology is, and I believe petrol technology is here to stay. The cost of fuel is an issue, without a doubt, and that may drive people to electric vehicles, but I don't believe electric vehicles have the future that people are pumping them up to be. I believe it's a combination of petrol, electric, and maybe hydrogen. I don't think petrol, electric is the ultimate. Elon Musk has said in an interview with Joe Rogan, well broadcasted interview with Joe Rogan, because he was smoking a joint, not very well, but certainly giving it a puff anyway, and credit to him. Even he said that electric technology has not caught on like he expected. It is nowhere near the growth that he expected. And that's because I don't believe that it's here to stay. Certainly not 100% electric. So that will remain to be seen. But electric motorbike sales, however, have increased dramatically in the US. As I have a latest report here that I get, let's have a look here, see if we can find it. Combined registration of electric mopeds, motorcycles in Europe reached 21,000 units during the first 6 months of 2018, an increase of 49%. That's 49% compared to the first half of 2017. The largest European markets in terms of electric units were France, where combined registration of mopeds and motorcycles totaled 5,500 units. That's up 25% on the previous year, followed by the Netherlands was up 48%, and Spain was up 125%, and Italy was up 20%. That is a massive increase in the sales and the public interest of electric motorcycles. Now this is where I believe the future lies, certainly with the fuel crisis in this country. I can see people getting on the Harley-Davidson Livewire, or certainly future Harley-Davidson electric motorcycles or other branded electric motorcycles, and using those to commuters, those as commuters. Obviously people with a little bit of extra money, they will probably end up opting for, it'll be just the excuse they need to own that Harley that they've always wanted, or to own that Indian that they've always wanted, or own that Triumph that they've always wanted. But I believe electric technology in motorcycles is the future. I don't believe it is in cars, but I certainly believe it in motorcycle sales. So now we've just got the latest reports on Harley-Davidson sales. For those of you interested, I found it quite an interesting read. For the third quarter of 2018, 84,000 touring bikes had been sold, and compare that to last year of 80,000 touring bikes. So only a 4,000 increase in sales of the touring bikes. That could just be because that's the way it is. I believe that it's because the 2018 model touring models are a fantastic looking bike, and I believe probably a lot of people with 2017 models have traded in those for the 2018s purely for the fact that they are blacked out and they look a lot better. They have extended bags. They're just a nicer looking motorcycle. So the cruisers, you know, your Softails, your Dyners, around about the same, 62,000 for the third quarter of 2018 versus the third quarter of 2017 was 67,000. So a slight drop in the Softail and Dyner range. But the most interesting thing I find is the Sportster range, which goes back to what we were talking about before. The Sportster range was 39,000 for the third quarter of 2018 sales versus 46,000 last year. Now that's the biggest drop. Is that because the new Sportsters are coming out in 2019 and people are waiting for that? There's no way I would be buying a 1200 Sportster now. Okay, they've changed the paint to some cool, you know, AMF style paint schemes. They've given you a 1200 iron, which is a very fucking cool looking bike. Everyone loves the 883 irons, but it sucked that they came out with an 883, obviously. So that's good that they've got 1200s in them, and that's probably saved their sales. But I wouldn't be buying a 1200 Sporty now. I'd be waiting for 2019 when those awesome models that we talked about in a couple of posts ago are coming out. They look like quad cam, water cooled Sportsters look really, really cool. That's what I'd be waiting for. So it'd be interesting to see why the Sportster sales are down. But yeah, going back, I believe that I'm real excited about the electric motorcycles and scooters and things like that that Harley are looking at releasing. So that's pretty much the things that I've got to talk about. What have we got coming up? We have the Lone Glide, which once I get these brakes sorted from the local dealer under warranty, I'm going to be stripping the wheels off. We're going to be painting the wheels because it needs new tyres after our road trip to America. Once the S&S cam plate and oil pump arrive from the States, which we'll be expecting at the end of November, I'm going to be very excited to strip that motor down and do that 120 kit. Going to be building some new bars for it. Going to be doing some other things engineering wise with it. Going to be removing the crash bars that hold up the fairing. So I've got quite a lot of engineering work to do to that bike. Won't be riding it much, obviously, because I don't plan on going away, and I'm lucky to have some other choices on bikes. So that's pretty much all I've really got to say. So look, if you like this vlog, please subscribe, please hit the like button. Anything you want to comment on, my thoughts below, please comment. Any comments made will go into the draw to win a free Hut City Custom Cycles flat hat of your choice. We have them available in white and black with the logos in white and black, so there's 4 different colour schemes. So make a comment below, go in the draw to win one of these flat hats. Yeah, so until next time, thanks very much for watching, and have fun on the road. See ya.